This could well be a chart topper now. Lockdown and coronavirus restrictions have been challenging for all of us. But let's be honest, for those in the live entertainment industry, they've seen their livelihoods disappear overnight due to venues closing or having reduced capacity to stop the spread. A Mepham singer of a Coldplay tribute act has used the enforced break to record an album of original songs after singing Chris Martin's for 20 years. SIIMON has teamed up with a top producer to release a collection called Cuts and Bruises, featuring collaborations with 19 other unsigned songwriters. He joins us now. SIIMON, morning. It must feel strange for you not singing Coldplay anthems, striking out with the unfamiliar like this.
Sure, yeah. I've spent a long time performing with various kind of different cover bands and function bands, and we spent the last 17 years doing Coldplay stuff. So it's really great to finally get around to doing my own music and actually release an album of my own songs.
And when did you start work on the album? What's the story behind it?
Sure. So the story is I've been, for about the last 5 or 6 years, been going away once a year on a songwriting retreat, like a songwriting holiday, where you go and write songs every day with other songwriters from all around the world. And I kind of had this back catalogue of songs that I'd written with various people, but they were just sort of iPhone recordings, never finally produced and made into a record. So with the lockdown meaning that the Coldplay tribute band work just dried up completely last year, I thought I'd use the downtime to actually go through those old iPhone recordings, pick the best songs, and actually finish the songs, record them professionally, and actually make an album.
This is a big move, a huge step for you, though, isn't it? How do you coordinate it? What were the logistics behind doing this?
Sure. So on the songwriting retreats, the songwriting retreats are mentored by various sort of mentors that are expert producers typically. And one of the guys I met there was a guy called Paddy Byrne, and Paddy's produced people like Will Young and Paloma Faith and Tom Grennan and Ollie Murs. So he's worked with a lot of named acts and really sort of warmed to Paddy, really liked his style, and he kind of liked the style of music that I was doing as well. So I reached out to Paddy and asked him if he fancied producing the album with me, and he was completely up for the challenge. So initially I sent him the recordings of the kind of shortlist, and we agreed on the shortlist of 10 songs we were going to work on. And then we started recording last year. Now, obviously, with lockdown, that meant that a lot of the work had to be done remotely. So I've got a little home studio. So I would be doing stuff in my home studio, sending it over to him. He'd do something, send it back. So it's kind of ping-ponging the tracks around to get them finished. But I promised my mum she was going to get her album for Christmas. So we pulled out all the stops and got it finished just before Christmas.
How lovely. Does your mum feature on the cover? Because there's quite a variety of photographs on the cover, isn't there?
Sure, yeah. The pictures on the cover are all actually inspired by the individual track. So there's a kind of image that bears a relevance to each individual track on the album.
Okay. And you're really, with this album, championing unsigned talent, aren't you?
Absolutely, yeah. The whole album is actually the work of 19 other songwriters. So all of the songs are written in groups of 3, except one, which was written as a group of 2. So every song is not just me; it's me plus 2 others that I met on these songwriting retreats. So they're all actually written in the same place, in a little village up in the mountains in Spain, where these songwriting retreats are held. And they're all, aspiring songwriters as well. Some of them are, regular giggy musicians that, like me, have not had any work with their normal day job in the last year. Some of them are a bit older and music's a bit of a hobby for them. So a real spectrum of people. I think the youngest co-writer is 18 and the oldest is about 55. But it's great for them to all have a record out now as well. They could all got a little piece of this too.
And typically, how many gigs would you play a week as a tribute to Chris Martin?
Sure. So kind of in the peak times, we do a couple of gigs a week, sometimes 3. So Friday and Saturday night really is the sort of the busy time. In the summers, we would do a lot of festivals. So we would be doing, sometimes we do 2 festivals in a day. You do an afternoon slot at one festival, then drive to another one and do an evening slot somewhere else.
Okay. I know that you've decided to donate all the CD processes to Mind. Why do the proceeds go to that charity in particular?
Sure, I think it's just been a real struggle for a lot of people, this whole COVID. So I was thinking about what charity would make most sense. And just mine seems to be the natural choice because a lot of people have, been struggling with mental health over the last year. And a lot of the songs as well are about the trials and tribulations of life. I called it Cuts and Bruises because the song's about falling in love, the song's about breaking up, the song's about losing someone close to you. So it just seemed kind of really appropriate that the content of the album is songs about life, and what a great charity to support.
So what's the big plan then? I mean, will you push on singing tracks from Cuts and Bruises, or will you return when the time is right to the tribute act scene?
Well, I think the fate is in the public's hands, really. Let's see what the listeners' vote is. Yeah, it's been going well. It came out on the 1st of January. We've just topped 30,000 people that have listened to the album. So it's going pretty well. It's going up a few thousand a day.
Yeah.
So we're just in the sort of big push phase at the moment to try and get as many people to listen to this as possible and see what they think. We plan to do a sort of album launch gig. We'd originally planned that for April. We've pushed that back to May now because with Corona, we don't know when that's going to be able to happen. But we're hoping to do a gig also for the charity in May as a kind of album launch where we'll play the whole album live as well. And then take it from there, see what happens, see if anyone influential listen to the tracks, like them, and see where it goes.
Okay, well, we're going to play one of the tracks now. We're going to play Cuts and Bruises. How can people get hold of a copy of the album for themselves then, Simon?
Sure, so if they just go to our website, which is SIIMON.com, but Simon is spelled with 2 I's, so it's SIIMON.com. If they just go to SIIMON.com, click on listen, and then there's links from there to all the major listening platforms, Spotify, iTunes, Tidal, Deezer, etc.
Brilliant. Really good news story. Thanks so much for being with us. The best of luck. Cuts and Bruises by Simon with 2 I's, as he says, is out now to download and stream. And this is Cuts and Bruises.
You told me not to climb the trees, wet eyes and a grazed knee. I showed you where it hurts. You made it better by holding me. You told me not to go too fast. Is there anything in the medicine
Brilliant, that, isn't it? SIIMON with Cuts and Bruises.